Upgrading the top path beast handler to tier 5 will get you the biggest fish in the pond, the Megalodon. This tower is very powerful, so I want to get it in Chimps mode. Unfortunately, in order to do that, you have to buy 4 orcas, which is a very expensive tier 4, combine all 4 of them, and then pay a hefty $46,000 to upgrade to the Megalodon. Overall, this is a very expensive tower, and if I wanted to get it on a map on Chimps mode, especially like an expert map, which I am doing here of course, it's going to take quite a bit of power. Fortunately, I'm testing out these strategies using the Hydro Rocket Pods and the Rocket Storm, which is the mid-path Dartling Gunner, and I'm just seeing how good they are with save-ups. This is the original goal of this run, testing out some of these mid-game save-ups with this tower. This is a tower that hasn't been really in use for a very long time, but it's got some changes, so I kind of wanted to try it out and see what it's like in the present day. It's going to be pretty good on the map Sanctuary here because it can fire in the middle and do a lot of damage there, so I thought it would be good to try and see kind of like what save ups it's capable of if I'm going to be using it. So I'm going to be trying to get the Megalodon, of course, and I'm going to be doing that with Churchill and the Rocket Storm for the mid game, and I'll just be going straight into it. I'm going to do this super cool early game that I kind of found where I can use a 1-0 NG and the Dartling Gunner to get Churchill on round 26, which is a very early Churchill. I don't know if there's a faster Churchill that doesn't like waste a lot of space in good spots. That only wastes 1 spot, 0 if you're going to be upgrading the NG later on. So I think it's pretty good, but let me know if you know something better. Moving along, I'm able to push into the Hydro Rocket Pods very early on. It's great in the early game, honestly, and with just a little bit of power, especially if you're using Churchill as your hero, you can get it before round 40 and destroy everything. A lot of times with some other mid games, especially the other Dartling path, which would be the 204 or 024 if you have that rare chance where you can be using that, it's very difficult to save up for the bads itself because the buckshot is very weak, and a lot of other towers like that are going to have some issues, especially something like the Never Miss Ace is also kind of a prime example. This tower, it's very nice that I found because you can go for a strong base tower with the good Dartling Gunner, and then after that go straight into a very strong tier 4 for not that crazy of a price. You can use something like a little extra to help you out, like an engineer for example, or if you have Churchill, which I'm using here, that will be able to go into it nice and easy. But then I'm able to get the Dartling Gunner, go for the Rocket Storm, no problem. Just a simple alch buff will help out. If you can get a drums for 2, that would be fine, but I'm not really quite sure if it's worth getting a drums alone for it. I decided not to in this case, but maybe it's something that you could try. Then from there, I'm able to work into the Orca nice and easy. These guys are going to be super expensive, so I'm going to grab the discount up there, and also we're going to have Drum. That's going to be very helpful, and I'm going to need to start saving up for this because I'm going to be getting really late at this pace, and we're just going to be seeing if the Dartling Gunner can get me all the way up there. The Orca itself, the Degree 64, is actually really strong. A cool thing that it can do is just one-shot all the ZOMGs, so it brings it in and drags it. Unfortunately, this map isn't great for the drag mechanic. You want it to be able to drag over a lot of stuff, and this kind of just drags it up into the center island, so it doesn't really get the most out of it, which is kind of annoying, but I'll see if I can get by. Unfortunately, a big issue starts to arise, and you might be able to start seeing it. More so that the super ceramics are being hard, but it's that I need to get some band-aid solutions, which is never really a good thing. I'll start off by getting this downdraft though, because the super ceramics are definitely too much of an issue. Downdraft is pretty good with Rocket Storm though, so not much of a problem there, I guess. I'll spoil the results a bit and just say that this approach didn't quite work out. However, I still will be getting the Megalodon on Sanctuary Chimps in this video, so don't worry about that. I think the Rocket Storm is still a pretty good tower and underrated, at least I'd say for most people, but it's not really capable, I feel like, of getting these gigantic save-ups that I'm looking at right here, especially on a harder map. On an easier map, I bet it definitely can if you've got some skill, but on a map like this, going for a very expensive tower like the Megalodon, I just don't really see it happening. I end up having to go for band-aid solutions, which kind of push it further and further back. It might be possible with this if I really rethink and come up with a better approach that revolves around getting overclock earlier and all, but I came up with this idea that maybe if I get Sabo for 95 and Relentless Glue, I can hold all the way until 98 and get it way at the end of the game if I can use Orca really well and beat 98 with just this. Unfortunately, round 98 was a little bit too much to handle, and this attempt didn't really make it off, so that's kind of unfortunate. Again, I actually feel like this approach is possible by going for a Rocket Storm save-up with Churchill, but some things would just have to be altered. The big weakness that I saw in this was that I couldn't really take out DDTs. I was forced to get Sabo, which means I wasn't able to get the Megalodon when I wanted it, and honestly, even if I got Megalodon, it would still kind of suck against round 95. At least it was really strong against the ZOMGs, so using this, I will go back to the tried and true Prince of Darkness. Again, what I still think one of the most extremely underrated towers is the Prince of Darkness, even though how good it is. I rarely really see people using this, but it's going to be able to work out perfectly with this. It's going to do great cleanup, and it's going to take out DDTs. It's a lot more expensive than the Rocket Storm in this case, but if I'm going to have to go for a Sabo and an overclock to get to the potential of getting the Megalodon, that's definitely going to be a lot cheaper if I just go straight for Prince of Darkness and solve all of my issues that way. So there's round 98 that didn't really work out. Let's check out this run, which I conveniently forgot to record. Not very cool, but it used Psy and Megalodon. Other heroes would have worked, It's just really the combination between Prince of Darkness and the Degree 64 Orca, which is really strong. But I guess here's round 101 and 102 of it. It was really fun to see. I'm very sad that I didn't get the recording because round 98 was very cool with the solution, and it didn't really take that long of a time, but after recording all of that, I really didn't want to do it again. But yeah, great combo.
Thanks for watching. If you want to help out the channel, you can check out these new videos, like and subscribe for more content, support the channel by becoming a member, and joining the Discord to chat with the community. Bye!